Tonight on Connecticut's news station, pumping the brakes on a proposal to ban the sale of gas-powered cars in the state. The reaction from both sides of the aisle.
And a man learns his fate after a carjacking crime spree that puts a lot of drivers at risk. We're hearing from a witness who intervened and helped to stop it.
Plus, an ex-New Haven police sergeant could be getting her job back, while the city's mayor says they're already considering an appeal of the recent decision that could put her back on the force.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. New tonight, Governor Ned Lamont's pulling the plug on proposed rules that would have eventually banned the sale of new gas-powered cars in Connecticut.
Yeah, this comes after increasing opposition from state Republicans and industry leaders. Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst spoke with state lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. And so, Emma, what's next?
Well, Brent, Sarah, the governor and legislative leaders call this a speed bump, but say they're still pushing ahead with these emission standards.
We march forth recognizing that this is good policy, that we have adopted good policy and we need the regulations.
The governor and state Democrats say they're not giving up on proposed regulations to phase out all new sales of internal combustion engine vehicles by 2035.
The gasoline-powered car is certainly on its way out. We will have all electric vehicles in the future, and we want to make that future happen as soon as we can.
This proposal came from a bipartisan law passed in 2004, which tied Connecticut to California's emission standards. But since the administration introduced these regulations, opposition has been growing.
It's the governor's office that actually does not have a plan, and this is something we have been calling on.
The legislature's Regulation Review Committee was supposed to vote on these new emission standards Tuesday, but late Monday night, the Lamont administration decided to pull them from the committee's agenda.
Going the other way, pulling the plug, changing our mind, will take us in the wrong direction.
Republicans argue electric vehicles are unaffordable for most residents and would be hard to implement because the state power grid needs major upgrades.
They don't have an infrastructure built out yet to support this plan.
Tuesday, the governor and legislative Democrats acknowledged those concerns.
These are real concerns that can't be just shooed away. They can't be wished away. They have to be worked on.
These proposed regulations are now heading to the General Assembly. Lawmakers say the legislature will take them up in some capacity next session.
I think, yes, we will get there. I don't know that we have a choice because the consequences are far too dire for us to continue to do nothing.
The governor and state lawmakers weren't very specific today, though, on what this plan could actually look like next session. Democrats say they will begin caucusing with members next week to begin these conversations. Sarah, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. Well, tonight, nurses from all across Connecticut are remembering the visiting nurse killed in late October in Willimantic. A vigil held for her at the state capitol, and that's where we find Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner now. DeAndrea.
Hi, Brent. Well, it was a very emotional vigil here for Joyce Grayson. Dozens of nurses from across the state showed up to pay their respects. And now this vigil, it was held in the North Lobby here at the state capitol to honor her life, the impact she made as a nurse, a mom, and a friend. Now, according to police, Grayson was found dead on October 29th at a halfway house for sex offenders in Willimantic. She had an appointment to see a patient at the address, and then she missed several appointments scheduled for later that day. Michael Reese, who was released from prison early after nearly stabbing someone to death, was taken into custody after the incident. Now, numerous people spoke at this vigil, including Joyce pastor and multiple legislators, about visiting nurses' safety and the changes that need to be made. And while legislators were there, organizers say that the vigil was about being there and being comforted and recognizing the nurses grieving the loss of Joyce and the comfort and safety of their jobs, like retired nurse Diane Ryan, who worked with and was good friends with Joyce.
I know the feeling. When that door clicks behind you and you're looking at somebody that could be dangerous to you. And I'm here to pay tribute to Joyce, number one, but I'm here also hoping that something happens so that this never happens again.
Coming up at 10 and 11, you'll hear more from Diane and other nurses who attended this vigil and what they want to see done when it comes to legislation. At the Capitol, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, DeAndrea. A shooting in New Haven leaves a woman in critical condition. Police say a 21-year-old was shot around 9:30 last night at a home on Blake Street. She was taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds to the stomach and back. Police say the suspect was reportedly barricaded inside that home. Officers eventually cleared the home but did not find the suspect. Anyone with any information should call police.
Firefighters responded to a fire at Suffield Academy about 11:45 this morning. Officials say the fire happened in Fuller Hall, one of the school's dormitory buildings. Firefighters say it started as a small electrical fire in the sprinkler system, and crews had the flames knocked down within about 20 minutes. The building was evacuated but will be safe for students to return tomorrow. No injuries were reported.
Turning to the weather now, a little colder out there today, definitely.
Chilly. Kind of a wintry week. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with more. Rach?
Yeah, we have one more cold day just like it for tomorrow, but we won't see any of this flying through the sky. There were a few scattered snow showers and flurries, a little bit of mood snow to get you started as we step closer to the holiday season. This is from Justin Zaperi in Rocky Hill, and it was just enough to kind of get you in the mood, but not enough to ruin any driving plans out there. That's our favorite kind of snow. Taking a look at the satellite and radar, we're quiet right now. There is a chance for a flurry or snow shower in spots as we head through this evening, but most of the snow shower activity has dwindled. It's actually lake effect snow being brought in by these gusty winds, but as the winds slowly diminish, the snow won't be able to travel all the way here to Connecticut. We're still seeing gusts up around 20 miles per hour in parts of the state, though, and that is adding a chill to the air, isn't it? Temperatures right now are in the 30s, but it really feels like the 20s when you step outside and you factor in that wind. Overnight lows will be dropping back into the 20s as we head into the day tomorrow, and very similar temperatures tomorrow, but because it's not as windy, I think it'll feel a little bit more comfortable. We're looking at high temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 30s as we head through the afternoon. Another cool night tomorrow night, but then the temperatures do rebound Thursday and beyond. We'll talk about that. Plus, we're also timing out some rain for the end of the work week. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A Connecticut man who went on a wild carjacking crime spree on I-95 in New Haven will spend the next 8 years behind bars.
Fox 61's Matt Caron was in court as 52-year-old Frank Montez Rivera was sentenced.
Montez Rivera was arraigned here at Middletown Superior Court. Cameras were not allowed inside, but we did catch up outside with one man who intervened, risking his life to save others.
He was the right person to be on the highway.
I just saw cars kind of smashed and turned and people were out of their cars.
Herb and Julie Johnson are husband and wife, who are also both retired New Haven police officers. Herb was on his way home, rush hour, I-95, New Haven, October 2021, as Frank Montez Rivera commandeered a tractor trailer, smashing into about 10 other cars.
At that time, a tractor trailer truck came swerving in around cars, smashing cars, and went into the guardrail.
Little did Herb know, just minutes before, Montez Rivera carjacked a man pumping gas in a nearby Citgo, crashing and dumping that car, then running onto the highway, carjacking the big rig. The incident escalated as Herb and a state trooper ran to confront Montez Rivera in the cab.
It was a major struggle. He was fighting. We both fell to the ground, and he grabbed my gun.
Eventually, they wrestled Montez Rivera into custody, an incident the Johnsons won't soon forget.
As a former police officer and a wife of a police officer, it's a phone call you don't ever want to get, but you know, this is what officers do day in and day out.
Herb, who is now an inspector with the Division of Criminal Justice, told Fox 61 he thinks justice was served.
We have compassion and forgiveness, okay, and that was the New Haven way. And, you know, I thought the sentence was appropriate. He obviously has some needs, but there also has to be consequences.
Herb Johnson told me he still wakes up every day with pain in his knees, a physical reminder of that incident. Luckily, no one was hurt or worse on the highway that day. Reporting in Middletown, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
New details tonight where a former New Haven detective is getting her job back. A panel found the city did not have just cause to fire her in the first place. Shayna Kendall was fired last August. She allegedly lied about a traffic stop, and an internal affairs investigation found her credibility as a police officer was ruined. The city is considering an appeal on the decision. Mayor Justin Elliker says the police department needs to maintain trust with the community.
People are unwilling to share information if they don't trust the officers. People are even unwilling to obey an officer sometimes if they feel like they're not going to be treated within the confines of the law. And so the foundation of that trust is officers telling the truth. And in this case, that did not happen. And that's a red line. And I think that we need to be really clear about that.
The incident that cost Kendall her job happened back in July of 2021. She pulled over a car for honking at her when a traffic light turned green. Kendall allegedly circled and berated a driver during that traffic stop. She reportedly failed to turn on her body camera.
The South Windsor Police Department is launching a new tool to collect feedback on how satisfied residents are with the department's service. It's called the Power Engage Initiative, and it kicks off December 1st. The department will start sending out text-based surveys after certain types of non-emergency service calls, asking for feedback on the dispatchers and the officers who handled the call and how satisfied the residents are with the service. The PD wants residents to be aware this is not spam or a scam and says they will use the feedback to best serve the South Windsor community.
Today, Connecticut's difficult past and current policy addressing gun violence were on full display in the Senate. The Senate Judiciary Committee, including Senator Richard Blumenthal, held a hearing discussing the gun violence epidemic as a public health crisis. Senators heard from lawyers, a Yale doctor, and community organizers about what needs to be a priority, discussing a range of topics from the emotional cost to the actual cost of shootings.
And more money is coming to Connecticut for holistic approaches to victims and perpetrators of gun violence. Funds from the American Rescue Act are being distributed to 7 different community-based organizations, each getting more than $88,000 per year for 3 years. And while each organization will be able to use the grants for innovative support and services they come up with, Compass Youth Collaborative here in Hartford has already announced they will be hiring a community health worker. Also in Hartford, ROKU says they will use the money to support 100 young inner-city moms.